Okay, so in this video, I'd just like to go into why I prefer living in Thailand over Malaysia. So currently I'm in Malaysia right now. I'll show you real quick. Here is Felder Tower. I don't know. It's some tower here. It's out the window of where I'm staying. Somewhere in the center of KL. Felder Tower. Enjoy. So I prefer living in Thailand much more than living in Malaysia. So I recently just came back to Malaysia and have been staying in a few different Airbnbs here, and will be staying a little bit more because I need to apply for a Chinese visa, and well, yeah, that's what I'm doing here. But I much prefer Thailand, and here are the reasons why. One, the airports. I don't know, the airports in Malaysia just simply, I don't know, when you go into and fly into the country, immigration, unless you're going really late at night, immigration can sometimes take you a few hours. And there isn't any fast track system, there's none of that, unless you have a Malaysia My Second Home program, the residence permit. You can sometimes, like this last time I came in, I had to be in line for over an hour just at immigration to get in. And that's not if you need a visa or anything like that, that's if you have visa-free status. So this is one of the issues I have, and the airports just simply aren't as good as the airports in Thailand. Especially the lounges, the airport lounges and stuff, they're just not up to the same quality, the food's not as good. Yeah, I don't know, I don't like them as much. The only really good thing about the airport here is Kuala Lumpur Airport does have an arrival lounge if you do have lounge access. But other than that, the airport's far out of the city. Penang, that airport's in the city, kind of. But it's just simply the airports here are not as good, and the flight connections, while they're good and they do have access to Europe, Thailand is just as good there. So to me, I prefer Thailand in this aspect. The next thing is really public transport. So a lot of the time I'm taking Grabs and taxis. However, sometimes I like to do public transport. It's just sometimes easier or more convenient, but in Malaysia, it's never more convenient, it's never easier, and it's usually the same price as taking a car. So from the airport to the city center, if you're doing that by the public transport, this is okay. It's a little faster, but it costs just the same amount as a taxi, so it's not that convenient. A lot of the times I'll just take a taxi instead of the public transport. Throughout the city, the public transport is just terrible. The buses you can't do unless you have a local card. You can't pay by like Apple Pay or anything like this like you can in other countries like Hong Kong or Thailand. It's just simply a better public transport system in Thailand. They do it better in Kuala Lumpur particularly, but all of Malaysia really. You just really have to use a private car to transport anywhere. It's not a big deal. Grab is pretty cheap, but it's something I don't like so much. The next thing is water. It might sound really ridiculous to you, but I really value the quality of the water I drink. If I'm drinking low quality water with low mineral content, I get a little bit of a dry throat. I find I get sicker more. I have lower levels of energy. So in Thailand, they do sell good quality water, almost on par with the quality of water you can get in Europe and stuff, like natural spring water and stuff. It's clean and high mineral content. Here, you can't really find that. So I'm staying at like a Holiday Inn Intercontinental Hotel, like 4 or 5-star hotel right now, and in Thailand, they provide like glass bottles of water, pretty decent quality, it's fine. Here, they provide this water. This water you can buy for like 1 RM. It's basically free. The content of the water, low mineral content, it doesn't feel too good, it doesn't taste too good. It might sound something ridiculous and small to you, but to me, it actually matters. Thailand's water is just so much better. The only good water I found here is Evian water, which I import from France, and it's just a little obscene. The fourth real thing that I prefer in Thailand over Malaysia is the quality of the Airbnbs and the quality of the buildings. So the Airbnbs here always look fantastic in the photos. They really know how to take photos. It's really good. But the problem is the photos are oftentimes a few years old, or when the Airbnb was just listed, or when the building was just just completed. When you actually go to it, it seems like in Malaysia they don't actually maintain the buildings really well at all. Thailand doesn't do a great job at it either all the time, but they do a pretty good job. When you go to the gym, they usually end up running the air conditioner in the gym. The weights and the machines, most of them are working at least. At least most of them, 90% are working, but I never really have had an issue with the gyms or any of that in Thailand. The public amenities in it. The pools are also, of course, very nice in Thailand. Here, that's not really been my experience. Many of the Airbnbs, like most of them even, they end up having issues with the gym or the pool or something like that, and it's just not big issues. Like, you can still train in there a little bit, you can still work out, you can still swim, but it's like, an example, the last Airbnb I was at, just a few days ago, before I came here, the pool, it was a fine pool. It overlooked just some buildings, like 5th floor, something like this. Not rooftop like Bangkok, but good enough. They didn't have any chairs by the pool. It's a small thing. I don't really care to lay by the pool, but it's something weird. You go to a pool, normally they have little chairs or somewhere to put your stuff or sit down. They don't got any of that. You go, it says you need to take a shower before entering the pool. Yeah, it makes sense, clean off. It doesn't work so well. Otherwise, the pool is fine. But it's those little things. Or like the gym there. They simply do not run air conditioning there. So Malaysia is very hot. It's humid. Working out in a hot, humid environment is fine sometimes if you don't mind sweating a lot. But it's just, sometimes you don't want to do that. Sometimes when you want to run, if you want to run fast, you overheat. That's an issue I've had before. It's okay sometimes, but sometimes I prefer air conditioning. Well, all the Airbnbs here, usually it seems like the air conditioning is just not on in the gym, and you can't turn it on. It's just, it is how it is. And then a lot of the equipment is just lower quality or slightly damaged. It's not as bad as some countries like the Philippines, where the gyms and pools are sometimes not even functioning, but one of the big barometers to me about building quality, management, and Airbnb quality is when a place says it has a sauna, does the sauna work? Here, the saunas don't work. Philippines, the saunas never work. Here, sometimes they work, but almost never. In Thailand, I can't remember a single time where a place had a sauna listed and it wasn't functioning. So, yeah, that's just one of the other little things here. The 5th thing is really just healthy food options. I really value eating healthy food. I like being fit, healthy. I'm into longevity, trying to, like, anti-aging sort of stuff. And I just feel terrible if I'm just eating trash all the time. I don't like eating fried food or any of that. So the healthy options here in Malaysia are just significantly lower. If you don't mind like oily stuff, fried food, lots of meat, it's kind of okay, I guess. But if you like eating healthier, you don't like lots of oil in your food, or you're like vegetarian or something like that, it's much harder here in Malaysia. They got some Chinese restaurants that make pretty good food sometimes, but sometimes it's a little oily there as well. It's just, Malaysians really like their oil. In Thailand, I don't know, I found lots of restaurants that would cook very clean and healthy food without even specifying anything, as well as many restaurants who would even cook with no oil or like stuff like that. Many more organic restaurants, of course, in Thailand as well. So just overall, much healthier food options and, in my opinion, better food overall. Now, the 6th thing is nature. Here, I mean, again, I'll show you out the window real quick. Where's the nature? I mean, it's not as bad as the Philippines. It does have some trees over here. It has a small park over there. It's not super bad. It's okay. It's okay. Like the Philippines, sometimes some of the places don't even have grass. But here it's okay, kind of. But compared to Thailand, especially like Chiang Mai, Bangkok, Phuket, really everywhere I can think of in Thailand other than maybe Pattaya, has fantastic nature. In Chiang Mai, you got mountains like at your doorstep. In Bangkok, you have these huge parks all over the center of Bangkok. Anywhere you would probably be staying if you're a foreigner or expat or any of this. Phuket also, of course, you got the beaches, you have some mountains in the middle, you really got it all. So here you don't really have that. If you want nature, you really need to go out of the city or you need to be in the countryside already. And Kuala Lumpur, you don't really have a ton of nature in my opinion. It's okay, it's better than some places, but compared to Thailand, it's just not there. The next big thing really is the climate. So Thailand, in my opinion, has a better climate than Malaysia. So they're right next to each other. The south of Thailand does have a very similar climate to most of Malaysia. However, it is slightly different, particularly in the north of Thailand. You have a bit less humidity, I find. Temperatures are a little bit cooler on average. During winter time, particularly Thailand gets quite a bit cooler, especially in the north. And just overall, the air it feels crisper in Thailand versus in Malaysia. So, I don't know, the climate here is a little bit worse than Thailand, in my opinion. The next thing, I think it's the 8th thing, is like shopping and the experience you have when you go to the malls. So I like to go out of the house quite a bit, every single day, sometimes a couple times a day. I like bouncing around, traveling to different places in the city that I've already been. It keeps my headspace good and it keeps me very productive. So in Thailand, this is fantastic to do. They have amazing malls. It's very easy to get around, like I mentioned, with public transport or a private car. The coffee shops are nice. There's lots of amenities. It just works. But in Malaysia, I don't really find that. In Malaysia, like, you go around, like, sure, they have, like, Starbucks and stuff like this, but they don't have lots of small, good coffee shops that are good to pull out a laptop or just relax in and have a conversation. They don't have, like, you go into a lot of the malls, and I don't really know how to put it, they're just kind of miserable. Even a lot of the, like, very fancy malls, the more expensive malls here are kind of miserable compared to the ones in Thailand. I don't know what it is. I don't know how to pin the quality there or what it is. It's just, in Thailand, the malls are much better, they're more convenient, they have I don't know, it's better to me. And the final thing is really just like everything I've talked about here. What is it? It's the lifestyle you can live. In Thailand, you can kind of just book a place and you can order whatever food you want. Everything's super convenient. Here, I find a lot of the times I've ordered for dinner, it ends up, you can't find a driver. For like your food delivery like Grab or, what's it called? In the US, it's called like Uber Eats or something like this, but over here it's Grab, Food Panda, stuff like that. You oftentimes can't find a driver. So it's little things like this that impact the lifestyle you can live and the quality of life you have. There are certain benefits to Malaysia. There are things I like with Malaysia. Like you can get imported goods a little bit easier. You do have access to some more like Indian goods and Indian food because there's a lot of Indian immigrants who live here. You do have like more like Middle Eastern products, like you can get more and better quality dates and stuff here, as well as you can get some stuff shipped into the country that is easier done. So there are some benefits, but the overall lifestyle here is just not as good to me as it is in Thailand. So yeah, that's really why I prefer living in Thailand over Malaysia. Overall, just the whole lifestyle picture and all the little things that matter, it's just much better in Thailand for me as someone who likes to be fit, healthy, active, and eat clean food, and just likes a life of convenience. Thailand's just a better option for me, personally. So yeah, let me know, do you prefer, if you visited both countries, do you prefer Thailand or Malaysia? And why, exactly? I've told you more or less most of the reasons why I prefer Thailand over Malaysia in this video, so I'm curious what your thoughts are, because I know there are some people who do prefer Malaysia. Maybe most of the people I've met are like Americans who really do kind of identify towards the Anglo or American mindset more, because he was more car-centric and stuff like that. But otherwise, most people seem to prefer Thailand. So let me know, do you prefer Thailand or not? But yeah, with that being said, bye-bye.